Hello and welcome back to another video. We're delighted to be joined by Jack Payne, former Ebbsfleet United midfielder, Gillingham midfielder, Peterborough midfielder, and this season Eastleigh midfielder. So Jack, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate. Hope you're well.
How you been coping during lockdown?
First few weeks were okay. Obviously, the kids are off, so I've got three of them here that I'm trying to keep occupied all day. So it does get a little bit tough, but it's nice to have the time off to spend with them. But I want to get back into it now.
In terms of your football, I believe you started at Gillingham. How did it come around to that?
I was playing for Grays and Northfleet at the time when I was a 9-year-old, and I got scouted as, like, it used to be a bit when I was playing. Used to get more scouts about, I think, when we was younger. And yeah, I just got approached to come in, and I sort of signed the next season when I just before I turned 10.
You made your debut for Gills quite early on. What was it like making your debut against Chester?
Yeah, it was crazy. Obviously, I was still so young. But yeah, I remember it to this day, really. I can still remember coming on, that feeling of sort of standing there waiting for Nicky to come off. And obviously, that's where it all started for me.
And then, obviously, 3 months later, you signed a 18-month contract with Gillingham. How did that feel?
Yeah, that was massive. Obviously, my first pro contract, I was still a scholar at the time, so I hadn't even finished my first year. So to get that at that point was brilliant for me and my family, really. Obviously, giving up so much time and money just to travel around the country for me. It was like a reward for all of us to sort of get that first deal.
How did you adjust, obviously, playing in the... Did Gills get relegated around that time, or was it tough getting that relegation with Gills?
That was we got promoted that season. I appeared in 2 games, and the lads got promoted, and then it was the following year in League One we got relegated straight back down. But yeah, that was a tough one for me. Obviously, I was still so young, but I played, I think, 30 games or something in that season. So for me, as a learning curve, and obviously growing up into men's football, it was good for me. But obviously, the final outcome wasn't so good at the end of the season.
And I believe you was awarded with the Young Player of the Season at the end of a season. How pleased were you with that?
Yeah, that was the season we got relegated, so it was sort of bittersweet, really. We had it on the same day as the last game of the season, so it was sort of, I was really glad, obviously, to get it. But at the time, everyone was down in the dumps, so it wasn't really a time for celebrating. But obviously, I got it a couple of years as well after that, so it was nice, obviously, to get it in a bit happier times.
Did you feel, obviously, pressure playing in sort of League One? Was it difficult, obviously, going from youth team football and making a few appearances? How did you adjust, obviously, playing in League One that season?
I think it was more nerves, really. I always backed my ability. I still do now. I sort of, whenever I play in whatever game, I can handle myself. And so I think it was just having that attitude that I know I'm young, but I can play. So I had the backing from the manager and the staff and all the other players. So they sort of helped me along when I needed it, and I sort of held my own, to be honest.
And then, obviously, after such a good season for you personally, I believe you attracted attention from Championship clubs such as Reading. How did that feel?
Yeah, that was crazy. Obviously, there was all sorts of stories going about that, but I didn't really know too much. I didn't even have an agent at that point, so I didn't really know too much of it. You just see things in the papers and your friends see it and send it to you, or your family. But yeah, no, I think obviously I was that young that I was always going to get a bit of attention, just because I was that young and I was playing a lot of games at that time.
When you're getting that sort of attention, did it affect your game at all, or are you just trying to focus on obviously playing football for Gills at that point?
Yeah, no, I don't think it affected me. Obviously, I didn't really know much about the pro game, really. I was still sort of in my first season, still a baby, really, coming into it. So I was just happy playing games for Gillingham. I'd been there 9 years. So it was for me, it was just carry on playing. No one else at my age really was doing what I was doing. So I was just happy to keep playing football where I was.
And then in 2012, you were due to join Peterborough, but the deal actually fell through. What happened there?
Yeah, it fell through. I flew to Portugal to meet them, and it all just fell through on sort of terms and fees and all different sorts of stuff. But yeah, that was obviously the beginning of it, really, because obviously Martin Allen was in charge that year, and everyone at the club thought I was going. And then obviously I turned up a couple of days later back at the training ground. So it was obviously, I wish obviously that season then panned out as I moved on anyway. So it sort of all happened that season, but that's where it started.
Obviously, you got relegated from League One and then went into those League Two years with Gills. Were you a bit disappointed that you weren't a bigger part of that team and weren't part of the team that won the title with Gills in League Two?
The Martin Allen season?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I played 21 games, I think, before I left. And then I went and played in the Championship at Peterborough, so I couldn't really, it was a move that we couldn't really turn down. But yeah, I was gutted that I wasn't there when we lifted the trophy and stuff, but obviously I still got my medal, obviously promotion, all champions. But yeah, for my career, it was the right move to go and play in the Championship at still such a young age as well.
And then obviously, you mentioned that you Peterborough. Were you pleased to finally get the deal done up, after it had fell through in the summer? Yeah,
I wanted to go and play for Darren Ferguson, and he was a massive draw for me, really, the players that he's had, the success that he had. So to be able to then get that move, obviously the season didn't end too well. I had a promotion and a relegation the same season, which is strange. But I enjoyed every minute of it, and I think obviously then it followed on to my career, sort of moving forward then.
What was it like, obviously, making a step up from League Two to the Championship? Was that difficult?
Yeah, it was different. League Two is a bit like the National League. It's some teams are a bit like hit 'em sort of big lads, and it was something. The Championship was a bit different. When you played against the bigger teams, you had more time on the ball because they sat off a little bit. So for me, really, I think that's why I excelled in it, because I was able to get on the ball and sort of play how I wanted to play without some big ball bloke trying to smash me all over the place. But no, it was good. Obviously, the athleticism and stuff like that in the Championship was much more, so I had to sort of try and develop myself. But yeah, I enjoyed every minute of that. That was obviously the highest that I've played, and grateful that I got the chance.
And obviously, I mentioned you joined actually on loan in January in 2013 for Peterborough, and at the end, then Peterborough made it a permanent deal. Did you know that was going to happen, or was you sort of like just going on loan? Maybe they might sign me permanently, or did you sort of know that was going to be a permanent deal at the end of the season?
No, it was just a loan deal at the start, and obviously we went down on the last day of the season. Away at Palace, went down on goal difference with the highest points tally to ever go down. So it was a tough one to take. But the manager said to me, "Look, I want to try and sign you." So I'm not sure if I can, obviously in League One. But he said we'll speak over the summer. And I think it was like the first week, first couple of days back in pre-season, I think we got the call, and sort of I was eager to then go and get the move sorted. Even though we was in the same division as Gillingham then, obviously Martin Allen had his plans, and I don't think I was really in them. So for me to go to Peterborough was massive.
How did you find your time with Peterborough in League One?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Obviously, we missed out we lost in the playoff semi the first year. And then second year, I was made captain, which was an honour to, like, at my age, I was 21, I think, or 22, to be captain of the club. And we just missed out on the playoffs, which was gutting, really, because we had two good teams. But we lost to Orient in the first year, and I think we was 4 or 5 points off it in the second year. So, I really enjoyed the 2 years that I played there.
And in 2015, you went on loan to Leyton Orient. Was that your choice to go on loan, or was it the club's choice to go on loan?
I was the back end of all the sort of old Championship and League One players from that sort of era, and the club was sort of revamping, and they wanted to go their own way and go a different way, and I just think I was one of the old ones. So it was basically saying I wasn't in the manager's plans, really, but I had 2 years left, so it was either I could sit there because I was on all right money. I could sit there and sort of just say, all right, I'll pick up my money, but I've never been like that, and I don't think I ever will be, because I'm so eager to play. So it was sort of Hesse and Andy Estintoni and Endon with Orient manager and assistant, so it was an easy one just to sort of get done and go and play some football.
Obviously, Orient had some ownership issues that time. Was it a bit crazy playing under the sort of crazy stuff going on at the top with Pachetti, I think his name is?
Yeah, it was mad. They had at the training ground there was 3 Italians that worked for him, and they were sort of just keeping an eye on everything. It was strange, like just having them around. They were everywhere, just to report back to him what was going on. So you're winning and everything's fine, but as soon as you lose a game, it was like the end of the world. And I think it come towards the end with Hendo and obviously the chairman. It all boiled over, and then obviously Hesse took over. I think everyone knows about him kicking him on the side of the pitch and stuff. There was some crazy stuff going on there.
And then after that, you moved to Blackpool on a 1-year deal, in which in that year you was involved in the squad that won the League Two playoffs. Would you say that was probably your best moment in your career so far, or?
Yeah, one of them. I think obviously playing at Wembley is massive. Obviously, I'm very, very lucky to have done there twice. But yeah, to start at Wembley in a playoff final and win is probably up there with the best. Obviously, playing in the Championship is up there, and being made captain of Peterborough, really, they're probably my 3 main sort of my footballing one. But yeah, the Wembley day's brilliant. Like it's the best way to go up. Obviously, it's the worst if you lose, but it is the best way to go up. Championship winning, is brilliant, but the day at Wembley itself is for you, the fans, and your family. It's massive.
What was it like, obviously playing for? No offence, Blackpool was obviously a massive club in League Two, and what was it like playing for such a big club in League Two?
Yeah,
Premier League.
It was crazy. Obviously, they had their problems with the owner as well. It was crazy when we was obviously the Premier League. They used to fill that. It was like 18,000, I think, week in week out. And when we was there, we were getting like 1,500 because the fans had all boycotted the stadium. So it was a strange, really, because obviously the stadium's geared up to be in high leagues. The squad was, to be fair, we had a really good squad. But yeah, it was strange. Obviously, we went to Wembley. I think we took 6,000 because no one wanted to pay the money, so the owner Oyster didn't get any money, which was obviously sad for us, really, because we want to play in front of as many as you can. But they had their obviously reasons for doing that, and he's gone now, and I'm glad to see that they're all back in now watching the games.
And in 2017, you moved to Ebbsfleet. How did that one come about?
I spoke to Darryl the year before. I think played Maidstone in the playoff final at Stonebridge Road and lost on penalties. I was actually at the game. I see Keds' penalty miss, and then I went. But obviously, I spoke to Darryl. Spoke to me that season. Obviously, I knew Keds. I knew Rancy. So there was a few boys that I knew. And I think if we'd have won that year, then I could have come and signed that year before I signed for Blackpool. So Darryl just said to me, look, go and get somewhere, and then obviously we're going to go up next year. He was positive of it, and then he said, I'll come call in next summer. So that's how it came about, really. We just kept in contact with Darryl. Obviously, I speak to kids all the time. So yeah, that's how it came about, really.
What was it obviously like playing for? You're from Gravesend. What was it like playing for your local club, really?
Yeah, it was good. As I said, I used to play there when I was 9. I was obviously at Gravesend North. I know it's changed name and stuff, but I used to go and watch. Obviously, used to get tickets and stuff. So I've always followed the club, really. My uncle's a supporter of the club, so it was nice to actually get down there and play. But yeah, I enjoyed my time. It was good. Obviously, everyone knows what has gone on. I'm sure you're going to ask me a few more questions, but yeah, no, it was nice to play there.
Yeah, and I've asked this question to everybody we've had on. Obviously, at the top that season, we went on to get in the playoffs. Was that the ambition? Because you can say it was now, but was that the ambition that they sort of had at the time?
Yeah, it was massive. I think you can see with the players that Darryl brought in. I think to me, his thing was we want to go up in 2 seasons. We want to be in the Football League, and everyone had the same from the owner downwards. It was owner Peter Varney and then Macca. It was we want to go up. So that was the main draw of it, really. Obviously, it was back at home, but the main draw of it was getting into the Football League for the first time for the club. We
hit a really good run, sort of March time. What was the sort of the feeling around the dressing room? I think you got injured around that time, but obviously you're still part of the group, and obviously the group were doing really, really well that spell. Obviously pushing into the playoffs.
Yeah, first season was a bit gutting for me. Obviously, I'd missed quite a bit of football with my knee. I'd come back and I was out again, so it was a bit of a struggle for me. But yeah, the boys done brilliant that year to get into the playoffs. Obviously, in our first year back in there, with all the stuff that started going off the field, as a credit to the whole squad that were at the club at that time.
And how highly would you rank that season? Obviously, because you was injured, would you rank it a bit lower? Your seasons.
Yeah, personally for me, it would be. But to be part of a group that obviously got to a playoff semi as it is, it's still up there. Like, we were so close to getting to Wembley, and I think if we'd have gone there, was it? Tranmere went up, didn't they? Because they beat Boreham Wood, didn't they?
Yeah,
that's what I mean. If we would have got Boreham Wood, I'd have fancied us. No disrespect, I thought with our squad, I think we would have. You know what I mean? So it was gutting, really. But yeah, no, it's up there because it's a playoff campaign on your CV. But for me, yeah, personally, I didn't play enough football that year.
Obviously, you've mentioned you played more football the next season, and obviously this was a bit more of a crazier season. And you also you went on loan for a month for some reason as well. I didn't understand that.
Yeah, I played the first game of the season. I'd missed a few games in pre-season, so I probably wasn't up to sort of where I should needed to be after missing. I missed 5 months the year before. I remember we played Saturday at home. We had Tuesday at Orient, and Darryl pulled me and just said, "Look, I think you need to get some games." So obviously it was an easy one to go, and sort of Hesty was down at Eastleigh, so it was an easy one for me again to go down and play some games, and that was probably the best thing that I did, really, because I come back and I literally played every game until the end of the season. So,
what was it like? Obviously playing under. Obviously, you mentioned playing under sort of the Oystons and Orient. Was it sort of similar to that? But
yeah, at the start, it was everyone was buzzing. He was, to be fair, you had no problems with him probably for 7 months of the first season. It was only just before the playoffs that the madness started to come, and then it just got worse, obviously, over the next year. But I've never had a point where I'm not getting paid. Like by the owners, I've always had them two owners were crazy. Like, we never really met the Oystons, but Prezzetti at Orient was mental. Like, and he had some crazy things. But them two people always paid me on time, so I'd never ever been through somewhere where I wasn't getting paid and we was having to chase money and stuff like that. So I think the second year, I think it got in the end. There was so much worry about that it took it away from the football side of things. Because you've got families, everyone's got, well, most of us have mortgages, and it's just like any other job. You need to be paid at the time that it states, which was a shame. I still think we could have been successful that second season.
As you mentioned, obviously the players' minds are on other things, but we still did really, really well that season. What was it like, obviously, going from Darren McMahon to Gary Hill that season?
Yeah, I think it was a credit to the boys, obviously, the way that we actually went through that season, because we could have done a lot more than what we actually done. But obviously we're professionals, and that's how we wanted it to be. But yeah, the change come up. The change was a funny one. I never played under Gary Hill before. Obviously completely different to Darryl. But in the end, we was picking up results in stages of that season. Even towards the back end, we were still picking up results, and we still, probably till the last 3-4 games, we still had a little chance of getting in the playoffs. But yeah, it was just the group we had there made that season what it was. Just because if you'd have had a few more horrible people, should I say, in that dressing room, it could have got a bit toxic, sort of, with playing games and stuff, just because we weren't getting paid. And to be fair, I think the boys handled it really well.
As you mentioned, obviously we done really well. We put in some. I still got some great memories from that season. Obviously, beating Maidstone, beating Leyton Orient, and that crazy game against Wrexham as well at home.
Yeah, the Wrexham one always sticks in our head, obviously, because we didn't come out and warm up, and obviously things were getting passed around the ground and stuff. And to be fair, the manager didn't have a clue what was going on because we didn't tell him. It was just us players were doing we wanted to make a stand, really, just so everyone knew what was going on. Because we had obviously held it in long enough. It had been going on probably 12, 14 months at that point. But yeah, that was crazy. Like, no warm-up and then coming out, I think it was 3-0 up at half-time or something. Yeah. It was crazy, wasn't it? And we played really well. Like, I think you could tell the boys were pissed off. It was one of them that we went out there and just played. Like, but yeah, that probably, for that season, that probably sticks in my head as well.
And did you find it difficult? Because I can remember that season, we had a lot of good midfield sort of runs, Ebbo, Andy Drury. Was it difficult? Did you have to go into training and really work harder than everybody else because there was so much competition in that midfield?
Yeah, I think from the start of that season, the boss Daryl said that we were going for it again, and I'm going to bring in players that makes us better. If that means that people are going to be upset because they're not playing, that's the way it had to be. Training had to be to a certain standard. If we're going to really try and go up, we need everyone firing at all times. So it is, if you've got someone in your position, you know you've got to be better than them in training, and then when you play, you've got to play well. Otherwise, there's people that can come in. So yeah, I think it does work that way. And I think it did, really, to be fair. I think we were still in and around it even when Darryl was there. We was never too far off of the playoffs. If it was just down to football, I think we would have probably made the playoffs that year.
Obviously, this season you've moved on to Eastleigh, where the season before Eastleigh had they were in the playoffs and done really well against Salford. What was the ambition from Strevens? Is it
Strevens? Yeah, I think it was the same, really. Obviously, everyone knows that Eastleigh had the backing of Stuart Donald. Obviously, he bought Sunderland, and obviously the budget of the club had to drop because obviously his money was going elsewhere. And it was sort of we want a challenge again, but it's a bit of a rebuilding as well. It was trying to get a squad together for the next 2 years that then the second year can really push on. Obviously, with this COVID happening, I think everyone's going to struggle next year, especially National League clubs and below. For finances, I think it's going to be tough for some teams. Obviously, budgets and stuff, it's just if no one's earning any money, no one can say what their budgets are going to be. And I think it'll all be a rush for players that haven't got contracts. It'll all be a rush before the first game of the season, trying to get somewhere.
What have you made of this season? Obviously, Eastleigh, they started okay, and then obviously you kind of, there was a little bit worried at time that you could slip into the relegation zone, but you got away from that. What have you made this season?
I think it's the start of the season. I think we actually started quite well. I know we didn't win as many games, but we were playing well. Injuries just disrupted us really a lot. We had a small squad anyway. I remember at one point we had 4 centre-halves injured or something. It was crazy. Like, I had to play right back for a couple of games. I think that just disrupted us, and then we was just inconsistent, really. Some games just think, yeah, we've cracked it now. And then you go and lose to someone, you're like, oh. I think it was just the inconsistency of having to change a team every week because we've got injuries, new players coming in on loan. And then I think if we'd have had a settled side the whole year, I think we'd have been in and around the playoffs, to be honest.
And then I remember when I looked up how you played for Eastleigh this season, I saw practically every game it just said 90 minutes. You got so much game time this season. How pleasing was that?
Yeah, it's massive. It's probably the best I've played for probably 4 years, really, I'd say, this year. I think I've got 12 assists or something before the season finished. That's my highest total, by far, in one season. And we only played 30-odd games. But yeah, to play every minute, I feel like I'm coming into a situation now where I've played so well this season. Next year is going to be the same. I'm 28, so I want to now crack on with Eastleigh. If we can, obviously, next year, see what happens. But yeah, just get back to enjoying it again, really enjoying my football. And I think that shows me playing every week, every minute of every game. So yeah, I've really enjoyed this season. I know we didn't finish where we wanted to, but for me personally, it's been a good season.
What are your plans obviously looking for? You're 28, you've obviously had a great season this year. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with coronavirus and stuff, but is your ambition to get back to the Football League? Obviously, you've already had some great time there, obviously with Gillingham and Blackpool and Peterborough and stuff. Yeah,
ideally I want to play as far as I can. I still believe in my ability. I think it's just when I left Blackpool, we got promoted. I played 40-odd games and I had a few offers, but I didn't really feel like I'd got offers which is what I deserved. I thought I played really well that year. And so I wouldn't say I fell out of love with football, but I was a bit more pragmatic, and I was like, well, I haven't got what I should have. I had 2 kids at the time, and the boys needed to go to school, and it was more the Ebbsfleet one come up, and then I could move home, get them into my local school. So that come into that move, really. I could have stayed in the league, but then I would have had to move somewhere else, and the offers weren't as good. And so, but now I've come to a point with this year, I've actually got back to really enjoying it again. And that is probably because I played every week, so I haven't had any injuries or anything that's kept me out of the side. But yeah, my ambition, I want to play as hard as I can. If I can get back in the league, hopefully with Eastleigh this year, or whoever knows what happens the following season. But obviously, we're all just eager to know when this season's going to start and when we can get back at it.
Do you want to go for your best 11?
Yeah, this is took me a little while last night. I just forget players who I played with, and then you keep changing it.
That's what Ked said as well.
Oh, it's mad because obviously the influx of players that you played with has been like crazy. I'd imagine Keds has got. I haven't seen Keds' one yet, but I'd imagine we've gone for the same goalie. I'm going for Paolo Gazzaniga, who's at Spurs at the moment.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
Yeah, like when he came into Gillingham, he was a young boy, like, but he was obviously had big years, and like his kicking was unbelievable. Right and left foot, he could literally volley out of his hand wherever he wanted. Off the floor, he was good, and I think that was just the culture of where he's come from in Spain. And obviously, he didn't play many games for Gillingham, but when he did, he was good, and that's what got his move to Southampton. And so yeah, he'd be my goalie. Ashmore I put down first because I actually forgot about Paolo because it was so long ago. For me, Ashmore is probably one of the best keepers that I've played with, except Paolo. He is the best. How he hasn't played in the league yet is beyond me. And I'm hoping that he will get a chance at one day to go into the league because I think he deserves it.
What formation you do?
I've gone 3-5-2 just because I needed to fit players in certain positions. So my three at the back, I'll start on the right, would be Jack Baldwin, who at the moment is he was at Sunderland. He's on loan at Salford at the moment. I played with Jack at Peterborough. And barring getting a really bad injury, he would have played. Bournemouth were putting a bid in, and we know that. He would have played at the top. Great footballing defender, but he will put his head in, his body in. And I enjoyed playing with him just because he'd always give me the ball when I wanted it. And then I've got two Gillingham centre-halves now. One is Adam Barrett.
Yeah,
Don't know if Keds maybe put him in his team, yeah. Got Baz, he was our skipper there. Like obviously, we was there at the same time in Keds. Leader, old school leader though, proper man. Fit as you like, even though he was one of the eldest ones in the squad. And he was a nice bloke as well off the pitch. Obviously, I was still a young lad when he was there, so anything that I needed, obviously, I knew I could go and talk to him. And then my left side is Simon King from Gillingham. Same again, barring an injury, a freak injury in pre-season, he would have gone and played at the top level. He was a very good, cultured, left-footed centre-half. Not the biggest, but he, again, like Baldwin, he would stick his head in and stick his body in. It's just a shame that he had to retire. He tried to come back loads of times with his ankle, but it was a shame that he had to retire.
Who have you got in that midfield then?
We're attacking this midfield. Like my midfield three in the middle is attacking. I'll do my two wing backs. My left side is Joe Newell, who at the moment is in Scotland with Hibs. I played him at Peterborough and he hated playing this position, but the gaffer used to change to it quite a bit and he'd always play there. And he was just so good at getting the ball, and he would drive down and he'd get us so far up the pitch. And when he got there, he had his nice left foot. He had good quality, so he hated it. But I liked him playing there because I knew that I could always get the ball to him as well. And on the right side is a lad from Blackpool that I played with, Kelvin Mellor. He's at Bradford now, but he scored goals for us, like really important goals. I think he had 8 that season that we got promoted, and he scored some really important goals. And he, again, one of the nicest blokes you'd meet off the pitch. Really professional. But yeah, he'd be on my right because I know I could get goals from him as well.
And then
here's the exciting bit. These 5, this is what you want to hear.
Yeah.
So this is really attacking. I've got Bradley Dack in centre midfield. Dacky, I grew up knowing Dacky, obviously come through the youth, same as me. And I only played a handful of games with him the season before I left. Obviously, what he's gone on to achieve now, he will go and play at the top level. I know he's injured still, but I'll back him to come back and he'll go and play at the top level. He's a good kid as well. He was always hungry to play when we were kids. Scores goals. He's probably a number 10, but I'm going to have to put him there because I've got another number 10. So, but yeah, Dacky's up there with one of the best that I've played with. And next to him, I'm going to put George Boyd in centre midfield. I played him at Peterborough. I was only there a couple of games with him because he went off and moved just after I turned up. but he's gone on to play in the Prem for most of his career at big clubs. Again, he's a local lad as well. I think he's from Gillingham, but he's another down-to-earth guy. Very nice guy off the pitch, but his ability on the pitch was very, very good. And then my number 10 is Lee Tomlin, who's at Cardiff at the moment. Obviously played for Middlesbrough, and I was at Peterborough with him. He had some ability. He was unbelievable. Probably technically, with his ability, one of the best that I've ever played with. Could be a loose cannon when he was younger. He was a bit fiery, but he sort of calmed himself down now, and he plays for Cardiff every week. So he's a very, very good player, and I love playing with him, to be fair. And then my 2 forwards, I have got Britt Assombalonga, who I played with at Peterborough, who was just a finisher. He literally, anywhere around the box, in the box, he would finish. Would run the channels for you, do all the centre forwards to do. He would do that, to be fair to him. He's gone on now, and he'll play in the Prem. It's just a matter of time. He was at Forest. I think he's still at Barrett, Middlesbrough now, scoring goals in the Champ week in, week out. But yeah, and then alongside him, I've got Dwight Gow, who obviously is at Newcastle. I played with him at Peterborough, and he was, if not one of the best movement and finishers that I've played with. I knew when I picked up the ball, if I just got a touch and looked up, he'd be off, and I'll be able to play him to him. Again, nice guy off the pitch, and he's gone on now, played at Palace for 3 or 4 years, now he's at Newcastle. Just scores goals wherever he plays. And that's my 11.
Who have you got managing that 11?
Oh, this was a tricky one, but I've gone for Darren Ferguson. He was my main draw going to Peterborough, really. He was a young coach, and the way he manages is the way that I'd manage if I get a manager's job when I'm older. The way he wants to play, and the way we did play, to be fair, as a team. So yeah, he'd have to be my manager in that.
Just a couple more questions before you go. What's the best ground you've played at?
Wembley, obviously, is the best ground, but say in a league game, probably I played at Leeds, played at Ellen Road in the League One campaign, and Southampton I played at as well. So them two are probably the best.
What would you say your best role is? Because obviously sometimes you're more of a sort of ball-winning midfielder, sometimes you're more of a sort of box-to-box midfielder. What's your sort of best role?
Probably this season I sat a little bit deeper, and I was able to get on the ball a bit more. I think that's probably. I need to get I scored 1 goal this year, but I need to get that more in my game. So it's more, I'm a sitting midfielder, but I want to get forward and sort of make the play and make it happen. So that would probably be, if we played a 3 in midfield, I'd be the bottom, and then I'd have 2 in front of me. That would probably be my position.
And final question: what's the best moment in your career so far?
There's been a few, ranging from the Gillingham moments to obviously getting my first contract, then making my debut, my first start. There's obviously probably playing at Wembley, probably starting at Wembley. I've come off the bench there once with Peterborough, but I actually started with Blackpool. Probably is the highlight, really, of the day itself. Nothing beats that going up in the playoffs. So that would probably be my highlight, a day in my career. Yeah, probably be that.
Obviously, big thanks for Jack for coming on. All the best if you stay with Eastleigh. All the best with Eastleigh. All the best for the rest of your career as well. So big thanks for coming on, Jack. Like the video, and see you later, guys.